Good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Tuesday is a happy day for me. Now we're about to get into the fun stuff. But first of all, let me turn on the cat. I didn't turn on the cat. So excuse me for being unprepared this morning. I hope everybody had a wonderful, restful weekend. Sorry I didn't go live yesterday. But you still appreciate me, right? Yeah, that's what I mean. Hold on, here we go. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Water is life. Yes. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We're about to get into some fun stuff today, right? But before we do, I am going to put on a dopamine patch from Happy Patches. Now, I don't like to endorse products, especially if they're not paying me to endorse them. But, I'm not a hypocrite. I use these, and they are great. They are superb. They're dopamine patches, right? As you can see, dopamine patches from Happy Patches, excuse me. No, Kind, I'm sorry. Not happy, but kind. Kind patches, you know what I mean? And you can stick them anywhere on your body. I like putting mine in the small of my back. I don't know. It's kind of like my favorite place. I like it to release near or into my spine. And I'm not really sure if the placement of the patch in this manner has that effect or not. I'm not claiming that. But I just find the small of my back to be a good place to put the Kind patch in the morning when I want to wear a Kind patch or when I want to wear a dopamine patch. And today is a good day for wearing dopamine patches. Why? Because we've talked about neuroscience, we've talked about neurofeedback. You guys have watched me perform a few neurofeedback sessions like I'm about to do now, using my NeuroAmp 2, okay, which is an electroencephalograph amplifier, or some people say electroencephalographic amplifier, or an EEG. What I do is EEG biofeedback, also known as neurofeedback. Yes, I'm a certified neurofeedback clinician trained at the EEG Institute. Shout out to the Optimers at the EEG Institute. And we've gone over infralow neurofeedback. We've gone over alpha theta, although I have not demonstrated either of those modalities with you, for you. And we've gone over definitely gamma synchrony neurofeedback, gamma meaning in the high 30 hertz or above range, in the gamma frequency zone, and placement of the probes, placement of the training probes are very important. We've trained the frontal lobe, which is associated with executive control and inhibitory control, telling yourself what to do and what not to do, preventing yourself from doing the things that you're not supposed to be doing. We've also gone over Broca's area and Wernicke's area, both associated with speech. You can suffer from Broca's aphasia or Wernicke's aphasia. Broca's aphasia is difficulty forming the words to get the words out of your mouth. And Wernicke's aphasia has to do with understanding words, understanding the spoken language, and we've trained that. And today, like I said, we're about to get into the fun stuff. That's right. We're about to get into peak performance training the brain for peak athletic performance. This is what everybody wants to do, right? This is what everybody wants to do. So today, before I prep my, before the cops come and get me, uh, I'm going to prep. I'm going to show you a few images, right, of the motor cortex. This is the motor cortex. Like when I put my headphone band on, you see how the band for the headphone goes over the top of the head like that? Okay? You see where the band goes, right? That's just about where the motor cortex goes. You can see right there. It's in the center of the brain. It's actually the back of the frontal lobe, right? The back end, the posterior end of the frontal lobe, right? The motor cortex and the somatosensory band ride pretty much together, right? With the somatosensory band being behind the motor cortex, but they both run like a headphone, right over the top of the head. Now, I like to talk about the experience that I had when I was a kid, putting my hand on the stove, on an electric stove grill. And I'll never forget, because I was a little baby. Everybody learns that lesson once at a time, once in their life. To me, it was fascinating. It was glowing red, and I just wanted to see how it felt. And I found out. And I had the circular burn on the palm of my hand. I remember that for a long time. But in that experience of putting my hand on the stove, I activated, at the moment I touched the stove, I activated the somatosensory band. Okay? And then I jerked my hand away. Well, the heat burned my hand, burned the neurons, burned the nerves in my hand. They sent signals all the way up to my motor cortex, right? And all the way up to my somatosensory band, triggering my motor cortex to move my hand away from the stove. So that all happens right here in the center of your head. So I just want to let you know, just give you my understanding of the motor cortex. So you can see the location of the motor cortex, all right? And we're going to let some experts talk about it here in a minute. And here's motor cortex 2, right? Now, every section on the motor cortex, including the somatosensory cortex, which is behind or posterior to, and the motor cortex, which is anterior of the somatosensory cortex, they all have a section in their body that they control, okay? Now, unfortunately, the part that controls the genitals is hidden right down the middle in the crease of the brain, as you can see. Right there. There we go. Let's do it right there. Okay, but you can see there are areas, right, that correspond to every area of the body, right? Tongue, gums, teeth, lips, face, nose, eye. Look at how much of the brain. Look at how much of the motor cortex is dedicated to the face, right? All of our expressions and everything. Fingers, thumb, fingers, hand, forearm, elbow, arm, head, neck, hip, knee, all the way down, right? And then you can see the same thing on the motor cortex. Knee, trunk, shoulder, arm. So when your mind, when you tell your body to move, when you send that signal out, that's motor cortex. When you receive sensation into your body, then that is the action of your somatosensory cortex. Glad we got that out of the way. So before we go on, without any further ado, well, hold on. I think there's a couple of other illustrations I want to show you. Okay? I know what you're thinking. If you're ahead of me, if you're paying attention, then that, yes, we're going to train the motor cortex to enhance physical performance. This is where the peak performance neurofeedback and the peak performance training, physical training, come together. That's why I say we're having a lot of fun today. We're going to do some things that we're going to get into the meat of what the peak performance protocol is and why we're training the brain as well as training the body at the same time. So, once again, genitals all the way down in the septum, all the way down in the divide between the hemispheres. Toes, foot, leg, hip, trunk, neck, head, shoulders, arm, elbow, forearm. This is all along that middle band in your head, and you can see what it affects. I'm fascinated with that part of the brain. Now, the other section of the brain is that controls physical motion, physical movement, is the cerebellum. But right now we're going to keep going over the motor cortex. You see the illustration here? Right? Larynx, tongue, face, hand, arm, trunk, hip. Okay? These are all the areas of the body that are affected by the particular area of the neocortex, of the motor cortex, or the somatosensory band that is being displayed. All right? So let's move forward. Whilst I put my probes on, right, on the somatosensory band, I'm going to let you guys watch a few videos here. All right? And actually, we're going to watch a few videos because I'm going to pour some water while this is happening here too. So we're going to watch these videos about the motor cortex and the somatosensory band after a word from our sponsor.
In the dynamic world of construction, where timelines are tight and projects demand agility, having reliable and efficient labor at your disposal is critical. Enter LaborDia, the ultimate app for streamlining your workforce needs. This innovative platform revolutionizes the way contractors connect with skilled day laborers, saving time, reducing hassle, and enhancing productivity on your construction sites. LaborDia empowers contractors by putting the control in their hands. With just a few taps, you can post the location of your construction site along with the rate you're offering for day labor. Laborers in your area will immediately see your job posting, complete with GPS indicators for easy navigation. This means no more waiting for days to find reliable workers. LaborDia ensures you're matched with laborers who are ready and eager to work, whether that's right now or at the crack of dawn tomorrow. What sets LaborDia apart is its seamless integration of technology to simplify your operations. The app's payment system, featuring PayPal and Zelle, eliminates the need for cumbersome cash transactions. Pay your workers directly and securely through the app, saving time and ensuring transparency. Plus, with LaborDia's mutual rating system, you can build a network of trusted laborers. Rate workers based on their punctuality, skills, and professionalism, and gain valuable insights from laborers who rate your job postings and site conditions. This feedback loop fosters accountability and trust on both sides, creating a stronger and more reliable workforce ecosystem. Safety and compliance are at the forefront of LaborDia's design. By offering tools for verifying worker profiles and guidance on labor laws, the app helps you maintain legal and ethical standards on every project. Additionally, features like geofencing ensure precise location tracking, so you know your team is where they need to be, when they need to be there. LaborDia doesn't just make your job easier, it helps you run your business smarter. Use the app to track payment history, analyze labor costs, and optimize your hiring strategy based on real-time demand insights. Whether you're managing a small renovation or overseeing a large-scale development, LaborDia provides the flexibility to scale your workforce up or down with ease. In today's competitive construction industry, staying ahead means embracing tools that simplify and enhance your operations. LaborDia is not just an app, it's a strategic partner that empowers you to focus on what you do best, building. Don't let labor shortages or inefficiencies slow you down. Join Labor Dia today and experience a smarter, faster, and more reliable way to manage your workforce. With Labor Dia, the future of construction staffing is in your hands.
All right. So now you see I am putting my probes here on the somatosensory band, on the motor cortex, and I'm putting the other probes on my cerebellum. The cerebellum is also associated with physical movement. However, the cerebellum is developed through repetitive training. Well, all neurofeedback, the brain responds to repetitive training, and if you do neurofeedback training the way I do, with the peak performance protocol, then you're actually stimulating neurodendritic plasticity. Now, you remember we spoke about neurodendritic plasticity. You can consider like my hand, right? You can say like from my palm to my elbow. That could be analogous to the axiom. The palm itself is the nucleus, and my fingers are dendrites. When you train your brain with neurofeedback, you stimulate neurodendritic plasticity. In other words, you grow additional dendrites, and just like branches on a tree grow sometimes from other branches, right? It's not rare to see a branch and then have a branch coming out from it. Well, this happens with your dendrites as well. You're forming new neural pathways. In other words, you are learning. I love learning. Learning is beautiful, okay? Let's hear it for learning. Learning. Yes. Thank you. Learning. The beautiful part about training the brain is that the brain learns. If you train your body, the body responds. The muscles of your body respond favorably to repetitive training done in close interval, right? Just like the brain. However, if you stop, like I've stopped, for example, I'm going to be lifting weights later on today, but I stopped lifting weights for a minute because I had to pick up my cardiovascular health, and I had to lose about 30 pounds, which I have. Now I've lost over 30 pounds, running and swimming and so forth. Well, now I had a little bit of muscle loss, a little bit of size loss. So now when I go back, I got to kind of pick up from, a little behind where I was when I left. In other words, don't hurt yourself. Don't be stupid. Don't follow your ego. Don't go into the gym if you've been out for a while and try to lift the same weights that you were lifting when you left. Don't even think about that. Drop down, train smart, and save yourself a lot of pain and injury by lowering the weights. Getting your ego out of the way, lowering the amount of weight that you use on your exercise, and training yourself back up. However, when you train your brain, the brain learns. You're building new neural pathways, okay? And so the training that you get is pretty much forever. Now, while I put my probes on, I'm going to show you guys a couple of videos from scientific experts, right, in neuroscience concerning the motor cortex. You guys watch these while I hook up my head.
Welcome to 2 Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the motor cortex. The motor cortex is a region of cortex in the frontal lobe that is involved with voluntary movement. It is located anterior to a large sulcus called the central sulcus, and is often divided into two major regions, the primary motor cortex and the non-primary motor cortex. The primary motor cortex is found in the strip of cortex known as the precentral gyrus, which is located just anterior to the central sulcus. The primary motor cortex is arranged such that different parts of the region are associated with motor control of different parts of the body, and thus is said to contain a motor map of the body. Most of the neurons that travel from the primary motor cortex carrying signals regarding movement will enter one of two major motor pathways: the corticospinal or corticobulbar tracts. The corticospinal tract carries movement-related signals to the spinal cord to cause movement of the body, while the corticobulbar tract carries signals to the brainstem to cause movement of the head, neck, and face. The non-primary motor cortex is often divided into two main regions: the supplementary motor cortex and the premotor cortex. Although the functions of these areas are not well understood, it is thought the supplementary motor cortex may be involved with the execution of sequences of movement, the attainment of motor skills, and the selection of movements based on incoming sensory information. The premotor cortex contributes about 30% of the neurons that enter the corticospinal tract, but seems to be more active during the planning of, rather than the execution of, movements.
So that's how they're growing so fast.
All right,
They're
well,
hiring
that's enough of that.
freelancers.
We don't want to
Look what
watch
they're
that
doing with AI
commercial.
experts.
Unbelievable.
Skip. Okay, so let's close this and see the next one.
The cerebral cortex is the outermost layer of the brain. It is primarily made up of gray matter that is extensively folded, forming ridges called gyri and grooves called sulci. The folding substantially increases the surface area of the cerebral cortex, making room for more neural components. Most of the cerebral cortex in humans is classified as neocortex, which is so named because it is thought to have appeared relatively recently in vertebrate evolution. Neurons in the neocortex are typically arranged in 6 layers, which are distinguished from one another by differences in cell type and cell density. The rest of the cerebral cortex is made up of either allocortex, which has a more variable pattern of layering, or mesocortex, which is a transition area between the neocortex and allocortex. Although attempts to functionally subdivide the cerebral cortex tend to oversimplify its functions, one common approach is to divide the cortex into sensory areas, motor areas, and association areas. Sensory areas receive information related to sensation, and include regions like the primary somatosensory cortex, which processes information about sensations like touch, pain, and temperature, primary visual cortex, and primary auditory cortex, as well as other areas devoted to sensations like olfaction, taste, and the vestibular senses. The motor areas of the cerebral cortex are involved with movement and include regions like the primary motor cortex, premotor cortex, and supplementary motor cortex. Association areas are involved in the integration of information from multiple brain regions. This integration can do things like add complexity to sensory perceptions or facilitate higher cognitive processes. For example, the association areas in the parietal cortex are thought to be involved with aspects of attention and perceptual awareness, and association areas in the frontal cortex are linked to complex processes like planning, impulse control, and self-awareness.
Or what I call inhibitory control and executive control.
Hello and welcome back for another video of the Brainy Heart. In this video, we will be looking at one of the 2 major cortices of the frontal lobe. And this cortex is the motor cortex. So let's get right into it. The motor cortex is this area over here, and it can be broken down into 3 different parts. This red area is the primary motor cortex. This purple area is the supplementary motor area. And finally, this blue area is the premotor cortex. So those were the 3 main regions of the motor cortex. Now the primary motor cortex, the motor cortex as a whole is located in front of the central sulcus. And if you watched my intro to the landmarks of the brain videos, you might remember that anterior to the central sulcus is the precentral gyrus. And that is exactly what we have here. The precentral gyrus is actually the primary motor cortex, and then the area anterior to the precentral gyrus would be the supplementary motor area and the premotor cortex. But just remember that this whole thing together is called the motor cortex. So as the name suggests, the motor cortex basically controls the motor activities of your body. Motor cortex actually has a map of the whole body, basically, in it. So what I mean when I say that the motor cortex has a map of the body is that when you take the coronal plane of the motor cortex, you will get something like this. And what you're looking at is the coronal plane of the motor cortex of the left hemisphere, and this would be mirrored on the right hemisphere. So as you might already know, the motor cortex has a lot of neurons, and the motor cortex basically sends the information to the body part through the neurons. The neurons are basically like the messengers, and depending on where the neuron is, that neuron might innervate something specific. So if there's a neuron over here, that neuron is going to be innervating the parts that help you swallow. And the neurons in this area will help you innervate your tongue. And this area will innervate your jaw. The neurons in this area will innervate your lip. And basically, depending on the location of the neurons, they innervate a different body part. And that is what I meant when I said that the motor cortex basically has a map of the body part. And that's basically how the neurons are positioned and organized. And fun fact, if you didn't already know this, since this is the left hemisphere, it actually controls everything on the right side. So these neurons are going to be innervating the right side of your jaw, the right half of your face, the right eyelid and eyeball, the right eyebrow, your right hand, and your right leg. And your right hemisphere is going to be innervating the left side of your body. And this happens because of a process called decussation, which we will talk about later in this video. Now that you know that specific neurons positioned in specific locations innervate specific body parts, the neurons will travel down either of these two tracks, the corticospinal tract or the corticobulbar tract. When the neurons get the information from them.
Okay, we're going to move on.
The motor cortex is located in our frontal lobe, just anterior to the central sulcus, and it orchestrates voluntary movement. It's broadly divided into the primary and non-primary regions. Now, this pink bit that you can see here is the primary motor cortex. It is located on this bit that's called the precentral gyrus. It's precisely mapped in a somatotopic fashion known as the motor homunculus. And from here, signals travel via the corticospinal tract to control our body, and then the corticobulbar tract to control our head and neck and face. In contrast to this, we of course have the non-primary motor areas, which isn't fully understood, and this includes the supplementary and pre-motor cortices. Both play the key role of planning and refining movement. So rather than just providing movement like the primary motor cortex, they use sensory feedback, motor learning to more strategically plan and coordinate precise motor output.
जो efferent pathway है उसका हायर सेंटर कहाँ होता है प्राइमरी मोटर एरिया दैट्स प्रीसेंट्रल गायरस एरिया नंबर 4 तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द बॉडी पार्ट्स अकॉर्डिंग
Hi everyone, Dr. Mike here. In this video we're going to take a look at the frontal lobe. Now, to orientate ourselves, let's look at the other lobes of the brain. We know that we've got the frontal lobe here, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. And if you were to pull that away, you would see the insula underneath. We're focusing in this mini lecture on the frontal lobe. Now, a couple of things. We need to know some of the anatomical divisions. So, how do we know that the frontal lobe sits here?
This is a
What
little
sits
too
under it being
general.
the temporal and parietal.
We'll probably watch
Welcome
it
to
later.
2-Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the corticospinal tract. The corticospinal tract is a major tract that carries movement-related information from the motor cortex to the spinal cord. The neurons that travel in the corticospinal tract are called upper motor neurons. They form connections with neurons called lower motor neurons, which carry movement-related impulses to muscle itself, causing it to contract. The upper motor neurons of the corticospinal tract leave the motor cortex and descend to the brainstem, entering the midbrain in large fiber bundles called the cerebral peduncles. The tract continues down into the medulla where the fibers form two bundles known as the pyramids, which create visible ridges on the exterior surface of the brainstem. At the base of the pyramids, about 90% of the fibers in the corticospinal tract decussate, or cross to the other side of the brainstem in a bundle called the pyramidal decussation. The decussating fibers will then enter the spinal cord on the opposite side of the body from where they originated as part of the lateral corticospinal tract. The other 10% of the fibers will continue into the spinal cord on the same side of the body where they originated as part of the ventral or anterior corticospinal tract, and only cross over when they reach the level of the spinal cord where they will synapse on a lower motor neuron. It is thought that the lateral and anterior corticospinal tract fibers have slightly different specializations, with the lateral corticospinal tract controlling the movement of more distal muscles like those of the hands, and the anterior corticospinal tract controlling the movement of more proximal muscles like those of the trunk. Damage to the corticospinal tract can lead to a collection of symptoms known as upper motor neuron syndrome, which involves symptoms like weakness or paralysis, hyperactive reflexes, decreased motor control, and either increased or decreased muscle tone. Over time, patients may regain the ability to make crude movements, but fine finger movements like writing or typing may remain impaired, suggesting the corticospinal tract is especially important for these types of movements.
In the primary motor cortex, causes contralateral paralysis of the muscles of the upper motor neuron type, spastic paralysis. The muscles or groups involved depend on the specific region of the motor homunculus. Focal cortical damage or lesions in its descending pathways.
What role does the primary motor cortex play in movement production? The primary motor cortex is located just anterior to the primary sensory
The sound
cortex,
is terrible on this
just
video.
ahead of the central sulcus, and just behind the premotor regions, indicated here in pink. What does the primary motor cortex actually do? Quite simply, the primary motor cortex is the area of the brain that sends signals to the muscles for contraction. Here you see what's called the motor homunculus. It's essentially the areas of the primary motor cortex and their representation of body area. So for instance, you'll notice that the face has a large representation, and that's because the face requires a lot of fine motor control, and there are a lot of neurons that are connected to muscles in the face, whereas the shoulder does not require a lot of representation, as the muscles there are mostly involved in gross motor production. So the primary motor cortex, when it fires, sends signals to the muscles that contract them and allow the body to move.
All right.
Your favorite TV shows are on YouTube. Watch classic comedies.
Let's get rid of
in
this
the world
commercial.
are you doing here?
Why do I think living in Manhattan is so fantastic?
How did she get...
All right, so that was pretty good, right? Yeah. Thank you, doctor. Thank you for your contribution, doctor. Now, before I get into my neurofeedback session, during which you're going to see more messages from our sponsors, I want to talk about the Halo device. The Halo device is, and I'm not promoting this device because I do not own one. I'm only telling you ostensibly what the Halo device is for. All right, so this is not a promotion of the Halo device. The Halo device is a headphone device that is worn by athletes that has special something technology inside the band that stimulates the motor cortex, and it supposedly helps intensify training. I was going to purchase a Halo device for the Biometrics Health Center because I have a lot of athletes as clients, but The device has a safety mechanism programmed in so that it only allows you to train yourself once every few hours or something like that. And I wouldn't be able to train clients back to back. Like if I had, one client come and leave and then another client come in right behind him, I wouldn't be able to do that because there was a delay. And I think it only allows you to do 1 or 2 or 3 sessions per day. I don't know. But they designed it for personal use. And I don't know if those things can be overridden for clinical use. But they have some really informative videos where they talk about the Halo device and the motor cortex and the theory therein. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to the Halo. All right, let's play it all.
Halo Sport is a brain stimulator designed to help athletes, musicians, and just about anyone learn movement faster. All movement is learned through repetition. That's why training works. Halo Sport works by sending a small electrical signal to the part of the brain that controls movement, putting it in a state of hyperplasticity. This means your brain is primed to get more out of each training rep, so you can gain skill, strength, and endurance faster. Over 15 years of research and testing, and more than 4,000 peer-reviewed studies support the safety and effectiveness of Halo Sport technology. Just wear Halo Sport for 20 minutes during your warm-up, and for the next hour, your brain will be in a state of hyper-learning, so you'll see better results faster.
They put commercials on everything, huh?
What's going on in the brain when you learn? In order to learn anything, whether it's math, a foreign language, guitar, or how to dribble a basketball, you need to create and strengthen pathways in your brain. Think about shooting a free throw. Know that feeling when you've got it down and don't even have to think about it? That's muscle memory. Here's the thing. Muscle memory lives in the brain, not the muscles. Your brain controls everything your muscles do, and it does this by activating specific neural pathways for each and every movement. These are functional pathways, neurons working together to achieve a goal. Say you're learning how to shoot a free throw. If it's your first time doing it, you don't yet have a pathway for that movement in your brain. You need to create it. Let's use an analogy to look at what's happening in the brain during this time. When you're first learning, your brain is like a forest full of trees and dense foliage, with no clear pathway between point A and point B. As you learn the mechanics of shooting a free throw, you create a trail through the forest. Now you can shoot the free throw because you've created that pathway in your brain.
Neuroplasticity.
But you probably don't make many shots because it's so new. The pathway isn't very clear yet. In order to improve your free throw, you need to refine and strengthen the free throw pathway in your brain. The way you do that is through practice. Practice gradually widens the trail through the trees, turning it into a dirt road between A and B.
Very good analogy.
You're starting to get pretty good now. You're making more free throws than not. You don't have to think about the mechanics as much. That's because the pathway gets stronger after each practice rep. And you've done a lot of reps. With even more practice, the dirt road turns into a paved road connecting A and B, allowing information to be transmitted at a faster rate. Now you're a 70% free throw shooter, and when you step up to the line, you don't even have to think about it. Eventually, with enough practice, what started as a trail has become a full-blown highway. Now you're a master, draining almost every free throw, and the movement is completely second nature. Scientists call this plasticity, and it's your brain's innate ability to create and strengthen connections between neurons. These connections are the path through the forest. Halo Sport optimizes this process by temporarily increasing plasticity in the part of your brain that controls movement, so that your brain can create and strengthen these pathways faster than you would otherwise. We call this hyperplasticity. When you practice or train in this state, you're able to write muscle memory more effectively, allowing you to get that much more out of your practice. In terms of our analogy, Halo Sport helps you build super highways of muscle memory at an accelerated rate. It's not magic. It's neuroscience.
Nice.
Here at Halo Neuroscience, we talk a lot about neurons. But how do neurons talk to each other? Neurons talk to each other by firing an action potential, an electrical signal that passes from one to another. This takes energy, so you can think of a neuron firing like doing a pull-up. In order to fire, the neuron needs to pull itself all the way up. Neurostimulation with Halo works like an assisted pull-up for your neurons. The electricity provides a little boost to the neuron, so getting to the top of the pull-up is easier. Since stimulation makes it easier for neurons to fire, they can fire at a faster rate. As neurons fire more often, they're also more likely to fire together. And when neurons fire together, they wire together, building stronger and stronger pathways with each repetition. That's how your brain learns anything. And that's why neurostimulation with Halo helps your brain learn faster.
Rent a car from our newest fleet yet. Your real car never has to know.
Muscle memory lives in your brain's motor cortex. Motor neurons connect from the motor cortex to muscle fibers throughout your body. That's how the brain controls movement. Halo Sport optimizes this brain-body connection, and when paired with practice, neurostimulation with Halo Sport leads to gains in 3 key areas: skill, strength, and endurance. Skill. By enabling the brain to replicate a very specific command on demand, sports scientists call that boosting central pattern generation. Strength. By enabling the brain to send the strongest possible signal to muscle fibers, we call that increasing neural drive. Endurance. By enabling the brain to sustain the most efficient signal possible for an extended duration of time, also known as decreasing central fatigue. That's why practice matters so much. Practice allows motor neurons to sync up so that the brain can create muscle memory. That's also why coaches and teachers say practice makes permanent. With Halo Sport, practice still makes permanent, but at a much faster rate. People ask us all the time, is Halo Sport safe? The answer is yes. TDCS, the technology housed inside Halo Sport, has been around for over 15 years and more than 4,000 peer-reviewed studies have been published on it. There's even peer-reviewed research on the safety and effectiveness of Halo Sport itself. And here's something else to think about. Today, more than 85% of adults worldwide chemically alter their brains to feel happier, more energetic, more focused, and everything in between. But when you try to change the brain with chemicals, whether it's coffee, Adderall, or anything else, you can't control where the chemical goes. That's why side effects are so prevalent. Chemicals affect the parts of the brain they need to, and the parts of the brain they don't.
Yep.
Turns out there's a better way to talk to the brain. Electricity. The brain is an electrical organ. Everything it does is the result of electricity flowing from one place to another. So why don't we talk to the brain with electricity instead of chemicals? Some people think this sounds scary, but actually you're speaking the brain's natural language, and that's exactly what TDCS and other forms of transcranial stimulation do. TDCS is a non-invasive form of brain stimulation that uses electricity to enhance the brain's natural learning process. Transcranial stimulation can even target specific areas so that only the part of the brain that needs help gets it, and you can turn it on and off with the click of a button. Imagine a future where electricity replaces drugs. Electricity is the language of the brain. Even athletes and musicians are using electricity to accelerate improvement. In fact, Halo Sport has quickened the learning process for users all over the world who've logged nearly 500,000 stimulation sessions since the product's first release in 2016. So what's next? Stay tuned to learn more about how neurostimulation with Halo is changing the world.
Very good.
Want to learn how Halo Sport is changing the game when it comes to endurance training? I'm Timothy O'Donnell, professional triathlete and Ironman champion, and I'm here to explain how your brain is the most important factor in endurance performance and how you can optimize endurance training with Halo Sport. When people think about endurance, they tend to focus on the body. Many people don't realize that the brain is really the driving force behind endurance training, and it all comes down to central fatigue. That feeling at the end of a long ride when you can't even pick up your water bottle, even though you haven't been using your arms. But one of the best kept secrets of endurance training is that you can actually train your brain to stave off central fatigue. Believe it or not, your brain starts to get tired well before your body does. Central fatigue involves a decrease in the excitability of the brain, resulting in weaker signals from the motor cortex to the muscles. This means that late into a workout or competition, you'll have less power and your technique may start to break down. To perform at our best, we need to teach our brain to keep delivering strong signals to our body. Whether you're racing in the Ironman Championship at Kona or trying to run your first marathon, your brain's ability to learn to go for longer is crucial in accomplishing your goal. By repetitively practicing exercises that involve a high level of exertion, we naturally train our brains to fend off central fatigue and maintain strong signals to the body. This learning is really no different than the other types of learning in the brain, and it's all possible because of neuroplasticity, our brain's amazing ability to create and strengthen neural pathways. How can we ensure the brain builds these pathways in the best way possible so that we can get the very most out of each training session? Scientists and athletes have turned to neurostimulation. Neurostimulation with Halo Sport places the brain in a temporary state of hyperplasticity, or hyperlearning. Training in this state helps the brain learn to keep sending strong signals to the muscles for a sustained period of time. In this way, Halo Sport allows athletes to better manage and stave off central fatigue, thereby enabling us to reach our full potential.
Something new is welcome. 29% off wellness every day in September. From vitamins to
And
beauty,
this
sports.
is the
Want to
last
learn how
one.
Halo Sport makes strength training better? I'm Andrew Herbert, professional powerlifter and former 3-time world record holder. And I'm here to tell you how your brain is the most important factor in developing strength and how you can optimize your training with Halo Sport.
You got a brain?
The size of muscles tends to get a lot of attention when talking about building strength. And yes, strength training increases muscle size through a process called hypertrophy. But while muscles do play a role in strength, they're not actually what makes you strong. It's really all about the brain. During a workout, the brain communicates with the body to generate power via an electrical signal called neural drive. You can think of neural drive as your brain's ability to recruit muscle fibers to produce force. The signal starts in the motor cortex and passes through the spinal cord to the muscles. Without this neural drive signal, muscles can't do anything, literally. To generate maximum power, we need a strong signal from the brain to the muscles. Repetitive training makes this signal stronger. Remember, repetition is how the brain learns anything. When you're lifting weights, with each rep, your brain is actually learning how to more effectively recruit muscle fibers to produce more force. And it's all possible because of neuroplasticity, your brain's innate ability to adapt by creating and strengthening neural pathways. So whether you're competing at the elite level like me, or trying to get more fit, reps that develop more neural drive are the key to reaching your goal. Here's where the science gets really interesting. Would you believe there's a way to improve brain function so that strength training makes you stronger even faster? There is, and it's called Halo Sport. Halo Sport speeds up development of neural drive by almost 10%. Halo Sport achieves this by putting your brain in a state scientists call hyperplasticity, a heightened state of neuroplasticity where learning takes less time. This enables the brain to more quickly develop the neural drive needed to generate stronger and more powerful muscle contractions. So pair Halo Sport with your training to ensure you get the most out of each rep. And that's why I use Halo Sport to optimize my strength training. I use this thing all the time, and you can too.
All right.
Hi, it's
Thank
Mr.
you.
Anderson, and in this video...
No, we're not. So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, and you understand the concept of training along the motor cortex to enhance training intensity and training and physical training intensity and physical training effectiveness, you see that I have my probes hooked up right here along my motor cortex, okay? And where I'm training against is my cerebellum, but that's for another video. The cerebellum is involved also with physical sports, physical activity, but it has more to do with because it's actually at the brain stem. It has more to do with the elite long-term training of your brain for certain physical activities. People like Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan come to mind, or whoever your favorite elite athletes are. Roderick Teamer of the New Orleans Saints, for example. These guys have very well-developed, and shout out to my cousin Roderick. Yes, he's my cousin. Anyway, they have very well-developed cerebellums, right? We'll get to that. We'll get to that at another time, okay? But for right now, we have the neurofeedback setup. I'm going to begin doing my neurofeedback, and of course, you guys are going to continue to see messages from our sponsors. I know you were hearing the gonging already and everything. I'm about to begin my training, okay? So, pardon me. It's 11:06. I guess I'm going to be training until noon, and then I'm going to head out to the gym for the afternoon. Okay, you see I've already set it up for 50 hertz. I'm going to let you guys watch my graphs. And here we go. Now you see my composite, the composite of my brain waves right here, right? Right here, and the big screen on the top. And then the two screens beneath show the activity of my left and right hemispheres respectively. I'm not going to continue talking because you can see how the other screen turns gray whenever my activity, my cerebral activity gets high. Those are called inhibits. So I don't want to trigger these inhibits. I'm going to just begin my session. S'il vous plaît. Once again, every time you hear the gong, that is the reward sound, and that sound happens when both hemispheres of my brain are in sync with each other at the target frequency, which in this case happens to be 50 hertz.
Imagine a world where finding your next job is as easy as opening an app on your phone. Labour Dia is here to make that vision a reality, connecting hard-working day labourers like you with construction contractors who need reliable workers. Whether you're looking for work today or planning ahead for tomorrow, Labour Dia gives you the tools to take control of your schedule and secure steady opportunities. With Labour Dia, there's no more waiting at street corners or relying on word of mouth. Instead, you'll have instant access to job opportunities right in your area. Contractors post the location of their job sites along with the rate they're offering, and you can RSVP to the jobs that fit your skills and schedule. The app's GPS integration ensures you can easily find the job site, so you'll always know exactly where to go. One of the best parts of Labour Dia is its commitment to fairness and transparency. All job postings clearly display the pay rate, so you know upfront what you're earning. The app's built-in payment system, integrated with PayPal and Zelle, makes getting paid simple and secure. No more waiting for checks or dealing with cash. Your money goes directly into your account. Labour Dia also empowers you to build your reputation as a skilled and dependable worker. Contractors can rate your performance, helping you stand out and get chosen for more jobs. But it doesn't stop there. You can also rate contractors, ensuring they provide a safe and fair working environment. This mutual rating system helps create trust and accountability on both sides, making Labour Dia a community where quality work is rewarded. Beyond connecting you with jobs, Labour Dia is designed to support you in your career. Use the app to keep track of your work history and payments, making it easier to manage your finances and plan your future. And because Labour Dia is accessible on your smartphone, you can find and secure jobs anytime, anywhere, right from the palm of your hand. Labour Dia is more than just an app. It's your partner in success. We understand the challenges day labourers face, and we're here to make your work life easier, more predictable, and more rewarding. Join Labour Dia today and take the first step toward a brighter, more secure future. The opportunities are out there, and with Labour Dia, they're right at your fingertips.
Imagina un mundo donde encontrar tu próximo trabajo sea tan fácil como abrir una aplicación en tu teléfono. Labor Día está aquí para hacer esa visión una realidad, conectando a trabajadores jornaleros como tú con contratistas de construcción que necesitan empleados confiables. Ya sea que estés buscando trabajo hoy o planeando para mañana, Labor Día te da las herramientas para tomar el control de tu horario y asegurar oportunidades constantes. Con Labor Día, no tienes que esperar más en esquinas o depender de recomendaciones de boca en boca. En su lugar, tendrás acceso instantáneo a oportunidades de trabajo en tu área. Los contratistas publican la ubicación de sus sitios de trabajo junto con la tarifa que ofrecen y puedes confirmar tu asistencia a los trabajos que se ajusten a tus habilidades y horario. La integración GPS de la aplicación asegura que puedas encontrar el lugar de trabajo fácilmente, para que siempre sepas exactamente dónde ir. Una de las mejores cosas de Labor Día es su compromiso con la equidad y la transparencia. Todas las ofertas de trabajo muestran claramente la tarifa de pago, para que sepas desde el principio cuánto ganarás. El sistema de pago integrado en la aplicación, compatible con PayPal y Zelle, hace que recibir tu dinero sea simple y seguro. Olvídate de esperar cheques o de lidiar con efectivo. Tu dinero va directamente a tu cuenta. Labor Día también te da la oportunidad de construir tu reputación como un trabajador hábil y confiable. Los contratistas pueden calificar tu desempeño, ayudándote a destacar y a ser seleccionado para más trabajos. Pero no solo eso. Tú también puedes calificar a los contratistas, asegurándote de que proporcionen un entorno de trabajo seguro y justo. Este sistema de calificaciones mutuas ayuda a crear confianza y responsabilidad en ambos lados, haciendo de Labor Día una comunidad donde se recompensa el trabajo de calidad. Más allá de conectarte con trabajos, Labor Día está diseñado para apoyarte en tu carrera. Usa la aplicación para llevar un registro de tu historial laboral y tus pagos, lo que facilita manejar tus finanzas y planificar tu futuro. Y porque Labor Día está disponible en tu teléfono inteligente, puedes encontrar. Labor Día es más que una aplicación, es tu aliado para el éxito. Entendemos los desafíos que enfrentan los jornaleros y estamos aquí para hacer que tu vida laboral sea más fácil, predecible y gratificante. Únete a Labor Día hoy y da el primer paso hacia un futuro más brillante y seguro. Las oportunidades están allí afuera y con Labor Día están al alcance de tu mano.
Now you can watch my neuronal activity as I speak, because I have to think in order to speak, right? However, I'm still hitting those gongs. It's like hitting free throws for a professional basketball player. Once you've had thousands of hours of neurofeedback training, especially in the gamma frequency range, it's like a sport. It becomes fun because you learn how to control your brain. And just like I can sync the hemispheres of my brain in oscillations at 50 hertz, pretty much at will, I can also access the flow state at will. So when I'm playing my sports, or when I'm running, or when I'm swimming, or when I'm lifting weights, or when I'm painting on the canvas behind me, or creating art in some way, or making love, or whatever it is that requires skill, I can reach the zone at will. On my delta waves as well. Look at that big delta spike. It was off the chart. Even though I was triggering, I was under fatigue. So you probably saw high activity down here on the low end of the spectrum. But I was Another delta spike. This is training. Doubt it not.
Food trucks bring life to city streets and satisfy cravings wherever they go. But managing a food truck's route, staying connected with customers, and securing consistent parking can be a challenge. That's where JobSite Route comes in, the ultimate solution for food truck management. At JobSite Route, we've developed cutting-edge web and mobile apps that work together to optimize your food truck's journey. With the Food Truckers app, you get a GPS-enabled tool that maps out logical, efficient routes to construction job sites and recalculates as new locations are added or removed. But that's not all. The app empowers food trucks to receive pre-orders from both construction site patrons and regular street diners, process payments seamlessly, schedule estimated arrival times, and communicate directly with contractors, diners, and even other food trucks. For contractors, the JobSite Route app is a game changer. They can view the live GPS locations and route schedules of all food trucks, pre-order meals for their team, request specific arrival times to keep their crew well-fed and productive. With the web interface, contractors can easily manage their profiles, update payment information, and even organize catering events with food trucks. And for regular street diners, our civilian user platforms, StreetGrubber.com and CurbDiner.com, make food truck dining more convenient than ever. Users can discover food trucks on their route, pre-order meals for quick pickup, rate and review their favorite trucks, and connect with other foodies. The Food Truckers web interface makes business management simple. Update your profile, menu items, prices, and pictures, all in one place. We keep it affordable and transparent. Contractors, $100 per job site per month. Food trucks, $100 per month plus 10% of pre-order sales. Civilians, $100 per month for adding custom addresses to the route. With JobSite Route, everyone wins. Food trucks have continuous parking and steady sales. Contractors keep their teams fueled, and diners enjoy the best meals wherever they are. Join the revolution today. Visit us online and download the app to get started.
In the dynamic world of construction, where timelines are tight and projects demand agility, having reliable and efficient labor at your disposal is critical. Enter LaborDia, the ultimate app for streamlining your workforce needs. This innovative platform revolutionizes the way contractors connect with skilled day laborers, saving time, reducing hassle, and enhancing productivity on your construction sites. LaborDia empowers contractors by putting the control in their hands. With just a few taps, you can post the location of your construction site along with the rate you're offering for day labor. Laborers in your area will immediately see your job posting, complete with GPS indicators for easy navigation. This means no more waiting for days to find reliable workers. LaborDia ensures you're matched with laborers who are ready and eager to work, whether that's right now or at the crack of dawn tomorrow. What sets LaborDia apart is its seamless integration of technology to simplify your operations. The app's payment system, featuring PayPal and Zelle, eliminates the need for cumbersome cash transactions. Pay your workers directly and securely through the app, saving time and ensuring transparency. Plus, with LaborDia's mutual rating system, you can build a network of trusted laborers. Rate workers based on their punctuality, skills, and professionalism, and gain valuable insights from laborers who rate your job postings and site conditions. This feedback loop fosters accountability and trust on both sides, creating a stronger and more reliable workforce ecosystem. Safety and compliance are at the forefront of LaborDia's design. By offering tools for verifying worker profiles and guidance on labor laws, the app helps you maintain legal and ethical standards on every project. Additionally, features like geofencing ensure precise location tracking, so you know your team is where they need to be, when they need to be there. LaborDia doesn't just make your job easier, it helps you run your business smarter. Use the app to track payment history, analyze labor costs, and optimize your hiring strategy based on real-time demand insights. Whether you're managing a small renovation or overseeing a large-scale development, LaborDia provides the flexibility to scale your workforce up or down with ease. In today's competitive construction industry, staying ahead means embracing tools that simplify and enhance your operations. LaborDia is not just an app, it's a strategic partner that empowers you to focus on what you do best: building. Don't let labor shortages or inefficiencies slow you down. Join LaborDia today and experience a smarter, faster, and more reliable way to manage your workforce. With LaborDia, the future of construction staffing is in your hands. Imagine a world where finding your next job is as easy as opening an app on your phone. Labour is here to make that vision a reality, connecting hard-working day labourers like you with construction contractors who need reliable workers. Whether you're looking for work today or planning ahead for tomorrow, Labour gives you the tools to take control of your schedule and secure steady opportunities. With Labour there's no more waiting at street corners or relying on word of mouth. Instead, you'll have instant access to job opportunities right in your area. Contractors post the location of their job sites along with the rate they're offering, and you can RSVP to the jobs that fit your skills and schedule. The app's GPS integration ensures you can easily find the job site, so you'll always know exactly where to go. One of the best parts of Labour is its commitment to fairness and transparency. All job postings clearly display the pay rate, so you know upfront what you're earning. The app's built-in payment system, integrated with PayPal and Zelle, makes getting paid simple and secure. No more waiting for checks or dealing with cash. Your money goes directly into your account. Labour also empowers you to build your reputation as a skilled and dependable worker. Contractors can rate your performance, helping you stand out and get chosen for more jobs. But it doesn't stop there. You can also rate contractors, ensuring they provide a safe and fair working environment. This mutual rating system helps create trust and accountability on both sides, making Labour a community where quality work is rewarded. Beyond connecting you with jobs, Labour is designed to support you in your career. Use the app to keep track of your work history and payments, making it easier to manage your finances and plan your future. And because Labour is accessible on your smartphone, you can find and secure jobs anytime, anywhere, right from the palm of your hand. Labour is more than just an app. It's your partner in success. We understand the challenges day labourers face, and we're here to make your work life easier, more predictable, and more rewarding. Join Labour today and take the first step toward a brighter, more secure future. The opportunities are out there, and with Labour they're right at your fingertips.
I know that was a big delta spike. Not too bad. Nearing the end. Haha, at the end. I don't know. You know, a good neurofeedback session brings out the best in me. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Wow. So now I really do feel like training. I always feel like training. I'm going to head to the gym and I'm going to do some lifting and some swimming and come back and do some artificial intelligence, some AI imaging work this evening. I'm going to go image to image from photographs combined with my hyper network. I think that might help me to get the kind of images that I've been looking for lately. You know? Like I said, the paste is man, there's a lot of police activity around here today. Is that an ambulance? Yes, that's an ambulance. Yeah, I live very near San Antonio Hospital, so it's actually walking distance from my house. And so we get a lot of sirens. We get a lot of ambulances. We get a lot of calls for me to say a quick prayer for whoever's riding in the ambulance. You know, I was an EMT at one time, in addition to biomedical equipment maintenance technician when I was in the military, when I was in the Air Force. Certified by the American Heart Association and the Red Cross. And I've done the ambulance thing. I quite enjoyed it. I delivered a baby. And then I went on to make 2 or 3 of them. So this has been a peak performance neurofeedback session. And now you understand why I train the middle, because it is the motor cortex and the somatosensory band. Very important place to train if you want to train for sports excellence or anything involving movement, dancing, even art, right? Coordination between the brain and the body. And it's quite enjoyable, I will say, but it's work. I mean, you saw the deltas, that when the deltas spike, and you can see me kind of going into little phases of fatigue, because it is work. It looks easy. It looks like, hey, he's just looking at a screen, but no, there is work involved, and it's definitely worth it. People have already been telling me that since I started making these videos, doing this neurofeedback again on just about a daily basis, almost a daily basis, that my overall appearance is better, that I look younger again, my skin elasticity is tightening up, and the brightness in my eyes and the sharpness of my brain is back where I like it to be. And I agree, I concur, I really do agree. Yes. Neurofeedback is good. Neurofeedback is good for the brain. It's good for the mind. And, I think I got one more thing to say on behalf of the Labor Dia app. Para mi gente que habla el español, tú sabes.
Imagina un mundo donde encontrar tu próximo trabajo sea tan fácil como abrir una aplicación en tu teléfono. Labor Día está aquí para hacer esa visión una realidad, conectando a trabajadores jornaleros como tú con contratistas de construcción que necesitan empleados confiables. Ya sea que estés buscando trabajo hoy o planeando para mañana, Labor Día te da las herramientas para tomar el control de tu horario y asegurar oportunidades constantes. Con Labor Día, no tienes que esperar más en esquinas o depender de recomendaciones de boca en boca. En su lugar, tendrás acceso instantáneo a oportunidades de trabajo en tu área. Los contratistas publican la ubicación de sus sitios de trabajo junto con la tarifa que ofrecen, y puedes confirmar tu asistencia a los trabajos que se ajusten a tus habilidades y horario. La integración GPS de la aplicación asegura que puedas encontrar el lugar de trabajo fácilmente, para que siempre sepas exactamente dónde ir. Una de las mejores cosas de Labor Día es su compromiso con la equidad y la transparencia. Todas las ofertas de trabajo muestran claramente la tarifa de pago, para que sepas desde el principio cuánto ganarás. El sistema de pago integrado en la aplicación, compatible con PayPal y Zelle, hace que recibir tu dinero sea simple y seguro. Olvídate de esperar cheques o de lidiar con efectivo. Tu dinero va directamente a tu cuenta. Labor Día también te da la oportunidad de construir tu reputación como un trabajador hábil y confiable. Los contratistas pueden calificar tu desempeño, ayudándote a destacar y a ser seleccionado para más trabajos. Pero no solo eso. Tú también puedes calificar a los contratistas, asegurándote de que proporcionen un entorno de trabajo seguro y justo. Este sistema de calificaciones mutuas ayuda a crear confianza y responsabilidad en ambos lados, haciendo de Labor Día una comunidad donde se recompensa el trabajo de calidad. Más allá de conectarte con trabajos, Labor Día está diseñado para apoyarte en tu carrera. Usa la aplicación para llevar un registro de tu historial laboral y tus pagos, lo que facilita manejar tus finanzas y planificar tu futuro. Y porque Labor Día está disponible en tu teléfono inteligente, puedes encontrar y asegurar trabajos en cualquier momento y en cualquier lugar, directamente desde la palma de tu mano. Labor Día es más que una aplicación, es tu aliado para el éxito. Entendemos los desafíos que enfrentan los jornaleros y estamos aquí para hacer que tu vida laboral sea más fácil, predecible y gratificante. Únete a Labor Día hoy y da el primer paso hacia un futuro más brillante y seguro. Las oportunidades están allí afuera y con Labor Día están al alcance de tu mano.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you once again. I love making that. So, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Now I'm itching to get out of here and go to the gym. I'm going to change into some gym clothes, hydrate myself a little bit more with my big tumbler, and get my butt into the gym so I can do a little lifting and swimming. And you know, I've been running up the hill. I've been running up Mount Baldy, basically. It's a 5-mile run, about a 1,000-foot climb, and I love it. I love trail running. It's been a very, very hot summer, and I lost 30 pounds, actually more than 30 pounds since I started it this summer. I read somewhere you are one stoic year away from changing your life forever, and I do believe that. I would like you to go ahead and download and install the Labor Dia app because the success is finally here. Shout out to Abu Bakar and the team in Pakistan. We are here at the finish line. Right now, the Labor Dia app has quite a few. We're coming up on 1,000 members on the Labor Dia app, and I feel really good about that. And we're still encouraging contractors and laborers to sign up. It's a very good idea. And we're making improvements on the Labor Dia app that it'll make it an offer that you can't refuse, right? It'll make an offer that you can't refuse. You will, once you get the new updates on Labor Dia, you're gonna have to get the premium membership, and you're gonna want to get the premium membership. And that's all I have to say. I'm not gonna go into too much detail with that because I gotta go to the gym. All right. So like I always say about this time, stay kind, because you know that kind is not only the new sexy, kind is the only damn sexy. Stay blessed and bless others. Be a blessed person, right? Be a blessed person, because mean people suck. And stay healthy. Most importantly, stay healthy. I love you, and